Nevada all the way up to Wyoming. Now the reason why this looks resource rich isn't because that many resources are actually tapped into here. It's because not that many people live in northeastern Nevada and Wyoming. Like the entire state is a few 100,000 people. I think DC is larger than the entire state of Wyoming, like in terms of population.
Yeah, and what's it like Alaska has like 0.1 person per square mile, but also has a ton of square miles.
It's ridiculous, and that's a great thing. You know, first off, I'm not saying that rural communities are bad or having very low population density is a bad thing.
Yeah.
All I want to put into reference is these look resource rich because there aren't people.
That's fair. The comparison is up.
The other thing I want to point to is where else are we really looking to for resource rich? We're looking at that northern corridor and that central corridor, and that is because of oil. Specifically, fracking. Now, what we're talking about in the United States, we haven't discussed this so much before, so I want to take a very brief step back.
Sure.
There is a difference between oil and natural gas in the United States versus every other country on Earth. The United States decided to spend a lot of money working on technology for something called hydraulic fracturing. That's where the oil sands are trapped in rock, and you crack the rock, open it up, let the natural gas escape. You can either put it into pipelines immediately, or you can just flare it. We'll discuss flaring in a second. And then you pull the oil out of the ground, pull what is essentially crude. Mm-hmm. The crude that comes out of the ground in the United States is the highest quality in the world because what you get from hydraulic fracturing is so purified, you barely have to refine it at all. You wave a white chicken in front of it and it's magic. It's the stuff is in a hyper purified form, and it's actually not compatible with most American refineries because American refineries were made to get that sludge that we get out of Venezuela, that more corrupted material that you get out of Saudi Arabia and Iran and Iraq. That is what our refineries were made for, as we were importing a lot more oil a few decades ago than we are today.
Not because we didn't have the fracking technology yet?
We just didn't, and it wasn't financially viable. You could frack you've been able to frack since, I believe, the very end of the 20th century, but the technology was so ridiculously expensive and so hard to actually utilize that it's really only over the last 2 decades, basically, that you've seen this absolutely explode.
So, moral of the story, get fracking.
Fracking is what's making these resource-rich regions resource-rich, because even if they are relatively population-dense, the amount of oil and natural gas produced by these regions makes them incredibly wealthy, in all seriousness, more than they should ever conceivably be. So there's an astronomical quantity of resource reserves in the United States, more than we even know about because we don't necessarily look to assess how much resource reserves we have here.
And Canada.
But all that being said, when you're looking at resource rich, this is basically only looking at oil and natural gas. Yeah. You're not looking at the mineral resource that we actually have available to us that we could tap into. And I am gung-ho on resource security thanks to people who have contributed to my life and understanding about it.
I think that there's also being factored into this resource-rich part is like agriculture and stuff too, or like availability for wind energy.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those definitely, but big picture too.
Yep.
I'm going to look at our next significant trend.